Alrighty, so today we're going to be walking through a short demo of the Athena platform, and we're going to be taking a look at a marketing use case, particularly an email marketing use case. So I've logged into Athena. We've integrated data for this particular customer, and we've actually used one of the pre-configured decision graphs. We'll talk a little bit later about how you can extend these for any nuances either in your data or in your decision workflow. The decision workflow that we're going to walk through today is going to be one, understanding a bit more about the mechanisms that are impacting our key KPIs for email marketing. And then two, we're going to take a look at some particular campaigns, so specific line items there. And we're going to do an attribution workflow using the decision graph that we're going to start by investigating. So starting on the bottom here, we have a score for this email. This is an arbitrary number that we can basically come up with and weight. The key metrics that we're going to be thinking about today, though, are the email marketing open rates, the marked as spam, unsubscribe, click rate is a key one, as well as how many of those emails actually resulted in someone placing an order for this particular product or for a particular service. Towards the top here, we have three major buckets. These are, again, pre-configured, so for each business, they might look slightly different, but the three buckets that we're going to look at today are audience, content, and other. And we can start by investigating any one of these, such as the content section, so the actual email content, everything from the urgency of the email, the call to action, the tone of the email, to the subject category. And I can do that here shortly. Subject category. And we notice there's a few different categories they've used historically. Provocative, humorous ones, promotional, sales, subject lines, and then some holiday seasonal, and then other. So we get a good idea about what we've historically sent, but let's do a different workflow where we actually try to understand how this subject, so the subject line, impacts people's ability or proclivity to open the actual email. And we notice a few things. Obviously, we saw before that we've always sent the least amount of emails with a holiday subject line and the most in other. However, it's not clear here what's the best subject line to get people to open the email. We've seen a whole slew of different results, everything from 0% open rates to 100% open rates. So this is where Athena comes in. So using our underlying models, we actually can run this impact analysis and retrieve the results. We can see here pretty clearly that there is some differences where holiday emails get opened the most often at 39%, and following that is provocative, humorous, 38%, unknown in others, 38%, and then the least likely to be opened are the promotional and sales email subject lines. That makes sense to us. However, let's do one more causal mechanism analysis here. We're actually going to take a look at the subject line and the click rate. So not only are we thinking about people opening these emails, but also, are they actually clicking through and going to the site or the app or whatever the click-through is headed towards. Again, we notice it's quite hard to pull out the signal from this noise. Using impact analysis, we can do just that. And we find something pretty interesting here. We notice that, again, holiday seasonals at 1.6% click-through rate, but promotional in sales is actually at 1.9. So that's going to be the most likely to get people to click through. So if we just looked at any one of those in a vacuum, we might not get to this outcome. So we can do this workflow again for any of the nodes in question. I'll do one more briefly for the open rate and the number of people that were emailed. So as we send more emails in a campaign, are people more or less likely to open it? And we notice it converges roughly to about 40%. And if we run impact analysis, again, we see there's roughly a 40 to 50% rate, depending on how many people you send it to. And there's a few different interpretations of this. The first interpretation would be, if you're sending it to a small amount of people, they're likely, people that are in like a smaller list or are expecting the email. And as you're sending it to larger groups, you'd expect that, you're not sending it to as specified or as personalized of a group. This actual hump here, it's probably dependent on this customer's data, but we're actually running a interpretation in the background. And what we're going to see as a result is the computer's best guess at why this causal mechanism exists. And let's see what it comes up with. These results suggest that the open rate tends to decrease this real amount, but nonlinear. Some fluctuations and plateaus occur. This may be caused by a bunch of different factors: levels of user engagement, time of day of week, and other factors that could affect open rates. Yep. It's roughly the same outcome that we thought of. We'll do one more here. The last one I'll do is going to be the month that you send the email and the open rate. And again, we notice some seasonality. We can run an impact analysis, and I'll kick off an interpretation. Let's say we're a brand new analyst, and we're working on the marketing team, and we're trying to better understand the system and how this business actually operates their marketing, and how customers actually react to this. So in this example, let's say the analyst actually comes in here, identifies this seasonality in month over month across the entire year, but they really just don't understand enough about the business yet to come to any great conclusions in order for them to make a better decision during their next email campaign. So in this example, again, we're using this interpretation tool to actually help us either A, give us a more cohesive answer, or B, give us some ideas of where we can search next. We'll let this finish up here and grab that. Perfect. I'll scroll down to the bottom, and it's saying highest rates tend to be in December and the lowest in September. This can be due to a multitude of factors, such as increasing email engagement during the holiday season in December and lower engagement due to busy schedules or vacations in September. That may or may not be true. We can probably do a follow-up again with other folks on the team, but it gives us a great starting off point. Now that we've taken a look at a couple of the mechanisms that impact our key KPIs at a system-wide level for email marketing, let's now pivot to a couple of our mocks. So you'd imagine this underlying mechanism or system can then be plugged into the actual campaigns in question. So this is where we can actually look at all the historical campaigns that the business is either running currently or have historically run, and then do an attribution workflow to identify how well each one did and why it did that well. So in this view, we're just looking at a 10,000 foot view of the email campaigns, any one of these line items here, as well as the attribution in dollars and in number of orders. I'll actually pivot into a single email campaign, and we can take a look at the attribution side of the house. Great. So in this example, we've opened the email campaign. We're getting a quick highlight here of what it was. As a reminder, we can see some key characteristics: the day we sent it, open rate, click-through rate, conversion rate, that attribution number we talked about earlier. And then interestingly, we actually have a breakdown. So for our attribution, we estimated $14,000 was attributed to this particular campaign and in 144 orders. It is now helpful for an email marketing team to ask the question, why? Why did that do so well? Or if it performed poorly, why did it perform poorly? So this root cause analysis or attribution workflow is quite common. And using the same underlying causal mechanisms, we're actually able to parse out the reasoning and provide that to the user in a summary and a longer form paragraph. So summarizing this one, it looks like the reason this one did so well was the audience section. So particular characteristics of the variables in audience were high contributors to the high conversion rate in question of 5.9%. We see here. And the other key characteristics, email content was not a high contributor to this attribution. Some seasonality or event level information was, and we can drill down into that down here, or market conditions or other. So the example we just walked through was, again, email marketing campaigns from the system-wide level through to historical email campaigns and the attribution against each one, and then into a particular email campaign. So that way we could perform this root cause analysis. The entire 3 tabs we just looked at, we can imagine the same workflow occurs when we think about social media campaigns or paid media campaigns or other styles of marketing, in which there's some content, there's some characteristics of the market, there's characteristics of the business, all of which have some mechanistic way of working together, and it is up to the data science and marketing teams to drill down into any one of these to understand what's happening, why it's happening, and then make adjustments accordingly for future campaigns. Thanks.